India's daily newspaper, The Hindu, reported that President Maithripala Sirisena had accused India's intelligence agency, Research and Analysis Wing or RAW, for plotting his assassination. The Hindu alleges that the president had expressed these sentiments during the cabinet meeting he chaired yesterday. Citing a source present at the cabinet meeting, The Hindu says that President Sirisena told the cabinet of ministers that the Indian intelligence agency was trying to kill him, but that Prime Minister Narendra Modi may not be aware of the plan and that it is often the case. He had also said that Trump may not be aware of CIA's similar moves. The Hindu states that it spoke to multiple sources in the government across political parties who attended the meeting and they confirmed this. President Sirisena's claim comes days before Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's scheduled visit to New Delhi, where he will meet Indian Premier Modi to discuss bilateral matters including key India-assisted projects on the island. The Hindu says President Sirisena's allegation, according to the sources at the meeting, came when he raised concerns over the government's indifference to an assassination plot targeting him. Reports of the plot emerged last month when an individual named Namal Kumar, part of an anti-corruption outfit, claimed he was aware of a plot to assassinate the president and former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa. According to the newspaper, the Indian national, arrested subsequent to Colombo's CID probe, has claimed he knew of the plot. The paper highlights that this is not the first time a Sri Lankan leader has accused the Indian agency of interference, where following his poll defeat in 2015, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa held RAW among those responsible for the change in regime. The Hindu also reports that yesterday's meeting saw a heated argument between President Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe when a cabinet paper on developing the Colombo port came up for discussion. The source had told The Hindu that President Sirisena vehemently objected to any Indian involvement in upgrading its East Container Terminal, a project that New Delhi has been keen to take up. It, however, goes on to say that Premier Wickremesinghe had countered by saying Colombo had already promised New Delhi collaboration on the project and it was important to rope in India at the terminal, given that about 80% of the cargo handled at the transshipment hub was meant for India. He reportedly sought a week's time to sort out the issues since he would be meeting Indian Prime Minister Modi soon. The flagrant topic was also touched on by local newspapers today, reporting that a heated argument ensued between the head of state and the Premier over proposed Indian involvement in Colombo Port's Eastern Container Terminal. In the meantime, issuing a communique to give clarity to these latest developments, Secretary to the Cabinet, Sumit Abesinghe, rejected the report published by The Hindu, saying, quote, "No memoranda pertaining to the projects intended to be implemented in the country, neither by the Government of India or Indian companies, relating to the field of infrastructure development had been included in the agenda of the said cabinet meeting." Unquote. The Secretary of the Cabinet also rubbished the news item as totally false. Meanwhile, Ministry of Foreign Affairs too issued a communique this afternoon insisting that the media report was baseless and false. The communique reads, quote, "Relations between Sri Lanka and India, including highest levels of government, are strong, encompassing multiple spheres including intelligence sharing." Unquote. The President's Media Division also moved to respond to these manifestations by way of a communique today. It said that during the said cabinet meeting yesterday, discussions have taken place on the alleged plot to assassinate the President, where he emphasized the need to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the alleged assassination plot. The head of state had also highlighted the importance of Sri Lanka having a deep-sea port terminal in the interest of national economy. The communique also says the High Commissioner of India called on the President this morning and all matters were clarified and bilateral relations were reassured. Meanwhile, the Indian journalist who had compiled the report was present at the cabinet media briefing this morning.
No, there was no cabinet paper about the East Terminal. There was a cabinet paper about supplying three lifts for the East Terminal, right? So that was discussed, and you see there were no observations from the Finance Ministry. So it was postponed for another week. 108 cabinet papers were presented yesterday to Cabinet, very high number. But only 43 were approved. 65 cabinet papers were not approved. This is one of them. It has to be discussed on how the East Terminal will be developed in the future. With that only, that this will be considered. The Minister said that he has funds in the Port Authority to purchase this equipment. In that case, the government said it's okay. if they have funds, not using the treasury funds.
So there was no discussion on developing the East Container Terminal with Indian assistance?
No, the President said that he had a discussion with the Prime Minister Modi at the BIMSTEC in India, and that he had a very cordial talk. He explained even to take over the West Terminal, leave the East Terminal to be developed by us, and the others can be developed by other countries. So, on the problem is that then the Prime Minister Modi understood it and he took it very well. So, after that, he said he had told, but there was a previous proposal from the Sri Lankan side asking the Indian government to develop the East Terminal. That's why that he raised the question. Not otherwise.
Minister, sorry, you also, I think, made remarks about the assassination plot coming up in discussion, and
there was the mention about a raw word. That was, he said that even in the attempt to his assassination attempt, that the raw was mentioned. So they said that even certain quarters tries to couple that with the Indian person who had come, who was an underworld personality. That he is a raw person and trying to inflict actually India behind his this one. But it was turned and reported, I think, in the papers today in a different. President has said it is the raw people who came to, he never said that.
Yeah. Right. May I respond saying some of your cabinet colleagues told me on record across party lines that this was set, and I take objection to you raising a point about the credibility of
no,
the
this is the media statement issued by the cabinet secretary.
Okay.
What had taken place yesterday.
No, then does it mean that your cabinet colleagues have not spoken the truth?
There may be not colleagues. There may be one colleague with some ulterior motive.
No, I spoke to 4 people, Minister.
Ah.
Yeah, and the account was verified.
So what did they say?
They said what has been reported today, that it did come up for discussion. And I even sought a remark from the President's office. They said they will verify and get back.
Yeah, that's
they
right.
Never did.
This is what the President's office people don't know what had happened yesterday.
In the latest development, President Maithripala Sirisena had contacted Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi over telephone, where the two leaders had a brief discussion on strengthening bilateral relations and each other's commitment to the long-standing friendship between the two nations.